plan in petrochemicals. So with that, just I'm including at the end impact of COVID also I'll add it to overview of the present scenario of the industries. So today's agenda, introduction will be there, emergency response is there, risk analysis I will do it, disaster management plan I can explain, including emergency plan, resources, elements, other things, complaints, plan profile I will discuss, including area of classification, mitigation measures and policies and safety measures and control measures. On-site emergency also I will discuss with the declaration emergency. Plant shutdown activities also I will discuss. And industrial current scenario with the post-COVID also we'll discuss. And at the end, we'll discuss Q&A. This is a small topic agenda given like this. Okay, sir. So is an introduction we will talk. Actually, petrochemicals is in the form of fire, explosive, release of toxic chemicals occurring in spite of taking precaution measures to prevent them. This is a basic problem in the chemicals. Many part of industries manufacturing handling hazardous chemicals have high potential loss measured in both human and monetary terms. So it is therefore essential to identify, assess the potential hazards and their possible consequences to plan accordingly the actions required to minimize the risk. So whatever you can avoid the risk, you should minimize the risk. A procedure to follow in the event of occurrence is a minor or major emergencies. So totally this presentation is a operative and management plan based on this with the consequence analysis carried out present in this presentation. So if you go for response, emergency and disasters, what is emergency response? To manage incidents with the defined boundaries in the industry or plant. Potential life threat situation is there, usually occurring sudden and unexpected way. Immediate response also will be there. Speed in responding can mean difference between the life and death or between the minimum damage or major damages. So under this preparation of planning of emergencies. Planning of emergencies means plan, practice, evaluate, adjust. This is required for planning of emergencies. So what is the disaster response? Disaster response is occurrence of sudden and major misfortune which disrupts the basic normal functioning in the society or community. Over and above to manage incidents where the effects are over outside the boundary of the industry. Normal it just happen within the plan means okay. Outside boundary means it is very difficult to the meeting the public requirement. The disaster should be checked up. So what is the risk involved? The risk is a combination of three things. One is hazard, exposure, vulnerability. These three things are mixed with the risk. How to handle the hazards, how to handle the exposure, how to handle the vulnerability, how it is coupled with the industry that we will look into, you will see. Risk is a measure of expected losses due to hazard event, particularly magnitude occurring given specific time period. The level of risk depends upon natural hazard, vulnerable effects, economic value. This is basic. We'll see hazards. Hazards are four types of hazards are there. Process hazards, natural hazards, chemical hazards, construction hazards. All hazards are taking risk. Somehow or other it give the hazards only. So hazardous in the nature, if you see, release of flammable liquid gases, spillage, pollutions will take place. Causes nature, storm, earthquake, floods. Extravagance, war, terrorism, sabotage is there. Man-made failure of equipment, design, unsafe act, inadequate maintenance, improper operation, emergency neighborhood. These are all the causes are there. What is the consequences in the hazardous within the boundary happening, outside the boundary happening? These are the consequences where you have to look at it. So vulnerability. If you see vulnerability in India, we are having more vulnerability among the resources. We are having 50% of earthquake vulnerability is there, 28% drought is there, 8% cyclones are there, 12% of floods are there, 80% landslides are there, 50% forest fires is there, and these are all available. These are the effective of vulnerabilities in terms of physical, social, economic, political is there. So instead of exposure means risk and exposure means the combination of risk divided by hazardous only exposure. So exposure it becomes a threat to no protective measure that is called exposure. For that we have to take care, exposure care. So what is the disaster management plan? So what is disaster? Providing a minimum action plan to minimize the life loss, to protect the life, restoration of normal life within the minimum time. That is called disaster plan. What you are planning. This way people are working on this. Any accidents occur, incidents occur. So industrial disasters are contributing factors are there. We'll see storage of flammable, explosive, toxic chemicals including radioactive chemicals. Uncontrolled release, unreacted chemicals, chemical reaction products, energy from chemical actions. These are the another type of reactions are there. So what will happen in presence of people in the proximate results in exposure. Exposure sufficient to cause serious injury to death. These also causing of the industrial disasters. What is emergency plan? So to plan standing instructions for handling emergency situations, to plan resources mitigation measures, to safeguard human beings, machines, equipment, property, to safeguard other persons not affected by emergency so far, to identify rescue casualties, to arrange the treatment, to define channel communication with key personnel. These are the emergency plans you have to see. What is genuine? Earlier concepts are reactive concepts. Present concepts are proactive concepts. Earlier means reactive concepts after happening, people used to take work, rescue, recovery, relief, rehabilitation. These are reactive concepts. But these concepts have changed over a period of time to proactive type. You have to plan, prevention, preparedness, response. These are things you have to plan. So the proactive. Even though proactive actions are taken, still actions are occurring. So what is a plan? Plan is site selection, product selection, process selection, risk assessment, hazard identification, development infrastructure, generation of on-site emergency plan. So how to plan? Planning must be. This also to be planned. So next, prevention.
శంకరెడ్డి
Prevention. Prevention is
వి
safe.
నాగేశ్వరరావు జూమ్ మీటింగ్ అవుతుంది కదా ఇప్పుడు
Yes, sir.
అవుతుందా
Prevention means
ఎందుకు
safer
కదా
technologies, integrate equipment, elimination of human error, right
ఓకే రైట్
selection of material, emphasis on critical safety audit. These are the prevention
అదే మరి
factors
ఆల్రెడీ చూశాను
to be considered. Preventive measures. Adoption of integrated safety system. This is also prevention comes under. Practical testing of anything, practicing of off-site emergency plans. These are all prevention measures to be taken. Next, preparedness. What is the preparedness? Ownership, knowledge building, education and training, capacity building, updating, on-site, off-site plans, awareness of community leaders, effective mechanism, effective coordination among different agencies. These are preparedness you have to plan. Next, response. Response means alternate activation, technical service, commission of SOPs, time management, clear communication, sympathy and human values. These are all responsive things to be considered. So what is emergency plan? There are two emergency plans. One is on-site emergency plan, off-site emergency plan. On-site emergency plan means whatever incidents occur within the boundary, it will affect it. Off-site means it will beyond the boundary, it will goes it. But what will happen in the on-site emergency plan? Controlling authorities, plant in charge, or plant manager, whoever it may be there, is a plant in charge. When actions occur off-site plant, it should communicate to the district collector of that area. So he is going to take over the authority of that incident. So that is happened. Same thing happened in the Vizag LG polymers. So accident happened, is gone to off-site emergency, gone. So authority is the district collector. They have to take care of it. So this is a figure you see. Failure occur in the boundary is on-site. Beyond the means off-site. So what is an on-site emergency plan? So basic definition of them is that a materials handled are potentially flammable, toxic. They can cause fire, explosion, unhealthy environment. They'll create unhealthy environment. If any abnormal conditions is not controlled within the reasonable time, that is called on-site emergency plan. If any abnormal condition is not controlled within the reasonable time, it created an on-site emergency plan. A plan with all actions and persons identified for different roles to handle a listed abnormality. When executed personally, would cause less damage to the plant machinery, ensures minimum adverse effect to the persons in that area. What is the preparedness during onset emergency plan? To detect early and warn, prevent escalation, minimize the effect on people, property, environment, effective rehabilitation of the affected persons, restore normalcy as quickly as possible. These are the onset emergency preparedness. So what are the resources are there for any plant if running is there? So these are the resources. Trained firefighting fighters are required. Mutual aid partners, instant communication facilities, dedicated transport around the clock. MSDS is required for materials handling in the inside plant. Emergency power for independent DG sites. Experience operating maintenance personnel are required. Wind is required. Update drawing of layout, P&D, electric installations are required. Emergency exit routes, assembly points clearly earmarked. Well-equipped OHS, skilled first aid persons day and night should be kept there. Ready to use fire aid system, portable fire aid systems, these are to be kept in position. Like this, elements are required. What are the elements are required in the plant? Planning and mitigation methods. Before something occurs, recognition situation. This is called mitigation measures. The command, coordination, structure. Effective notification, communication phases are required. These are one of the basic elements. Reliable and early detection of emergency. Identification of emergency isolation walls. Appropriate emergency response time. Proper training of concerned persons. Resources of handling emergencies. Regular review and update of the plan. Recruitment of efficient personnel. Regular mock drill and rehearsals. These are the elements are required in the plant. So what is the perception of this thing? So society, industry, individual, government, all perceptions things are required. So why this exercise is required? So to live, to save, to progress, to prosper, this is required for that purpose we are doing this exercise. When industry running, should people live comfortably, they have to save, they should progress the work, they should prosperous. So why do you issue, how do you issue this thing? How to in the plant, how to issue this thing? Management employees. Management has to play visionary role, employees has to play implementer role. These two together to get together to work, then only we can achieve this planning. This is called parametric approach. So unless parametric approach is not there in the inside the plant, very difficult to achieve any working also. So what is the behind the parametric approach? We'll see. Parametric approach. So external threats are there that you have to identify, watch them, potential perils to watch them and to take action. And reducing solutions. The personnel working close to the operations are the best equipped to detect the risk. All type of risk issues, we have to involve them and we have to reduce those things. And identify the potential crisis. What are the potential crises in the plant? You have manage it occurring and bind bubbling, you have to check it out. Avoidable risks. Some risks are much easier and cheaper to neutralize them. So that such risks should identify and adapted to eliminate it further. So quantity of the risk considered in terms of potential risk, then probability of occurrences. That if you observe it and apply them and avoid it. So take holistic approach in addressing them, giving solutions. So give a thought. This is a parametric approach. Unless this parametric approach is required between the management and the employees, then only this will be taken care. So what essence of compliance? Compliance is the law of justice you fear, and by compliance the law prevent. You can see what are things are there. So if something goes on, fine, imprisonment, suspension, license to operate, bad publicity, trained employees, employee relations. These are the law of justice to fear. But comply with the law to prevent human suffering, disasters, degradation of quality of life, environmental damage. These are the complaints you have to check it out. So legal provisions are there. What are the legal provisions? What are the onset emergency plan, offset emergency plan? It should be as per the legality of shape. The Factory Act is there, 1948, is amended 1987, and the rules are there. According to the rules, you have to make it. What are the emergency plan you made it? Onset emergency plan, offset emergency plan, should be reviewed every 6 months or 1 year. That report is submitted to factory inspector for review for that purpose. Anything update is there, they will do update on that. Along with factory's approval, we have to go for manufacture, storage, import hazard chemicals also that has to be included in that. Chemical preparedness also to be there. Mock drill emergency plan also to be included. Chemical accident rules are there that also to be included in this. Review of onset emergency plan, assessment preparation of offset emergency plan, one full scale mock drill, education community training, all these things are to incorporate in the onset emergency plan. So legal provisions as per regulatory standards, OECD, Chemical Accidents, Disaster Act 2005, these are all things to be implemented on that. So what is the why onset emergency plan? What is the practical is required? This is only theory part we have seen. What is the practical required in industry? So if industry say some petrochemical industry, the process are like this. When crude oil is there, so many processes are there, distillation process, distillation vacuum process and atmospheric process. Over a period of time, we'll get outputs are like this. So each got his own effect to us. Each got his own process, methodology is there. Based on so, the plant is running very critically. So each process we can see. Each plant we construct, no, some plant profile is required. So what is the plant profile? Geographical location, where the plant is located. What is the latitude? What is the latitude? What is the elevation of this? Uh, uh, Parametrically, parallelly, meteorological data also should be seen in that area. What is barometric pressure, relative humidity, wind speed, wind direction, seismic zone, rainfall intensity is also to be checked up. So hazardous area of classification are required in these plants. Hazardous area classification based on groups, zones, division, basic explosion, protection considered. These are the to be considered. Hazardous group classification is there as far as 2148. HL standard methods are there. Classification hazardous zones. Petroleum carbide calcium manual say these are all hazardous classification based on this. Groups are there: group 2A, group 1A, zone 0, zone 1, zone 2, division 1, division 2. Based on this, plant will be established. So what is a hazardous? Hazardous is basically thing with potential producing accident. It consequence of hazardous means fire, vapor cloud explosion, formation of toxic. Fire extinguisher, some limits will be there: lower limit, upper limit, flash limit, ignition, auto ignition. Based on this, all chemicals will run it. These parameters applicable for the raw material as well as product material. This raw material, product material, plant with some load factors will be there. That load factor will operate within the loading factor. You should not operate the plant more than that loading factor. Okay? That is the plant operations are required. So the plant operations, if we see, plant layout example, you see, hazardous area classification, they'll indicate what is the plant. So division 1, division 2, this explosive, they'll indicate it. Why this plant area is very explosive. This clouding system will be there. This area is a explosive area. This display board, they'll put it in the notice board in the entrance of the gates. Whenever people are going, so people can know what is the plant condition, where is explosive areas are there, they can identify. This explosive area, so we can see it. So to run the plant, some mitigation measures are required. What are the mitigation measures are required in the plant with respect to disaster analysis? So plan to meet existing due to fire. Fire end system is must and need. So what is a fire end system? Fire end systems are installed in the annual operating system, including tank farm area, to minimize the damage. Reservoir should have adequate water for fire end system always. Fire pumps should be connected with emergency power. Portable firing systems are required. Adequate number of firefighting systems are required. Fire box are provided to different locations. These all should be available locations as per norms is there. So the norms will be fixed by factory inspector, plant manager. They should decide it where to install the firing systems and everything. They should install it to meeting the requirement. Otherwise, some OEM people also they will give the norms accordingly. We have to install it. So tank farm area is one of the critical area. There also should be mitigation measures are adopted there. So dike walls should be constructed. All dike walls is must catch pots are required for all tank farm areas. Vessels, the storage tanks, everything is required. All tanks vessels are properly earthed. All the tank farms are required flame arresters. These has to be checked up periodically. During loading and unloading, tanks are properly earthing connections to be given. The storage area is completely filled with braided wire to prevent unauthorized persons. They should not allow unauthorized persons. They should braided wire or compound wall, whatever is depend upon the company construction they have to make it. Unloading operations are to be carried out daytime only under the supervision because night time they are not allowing any industry, especially petrochemical industries. These are tank formula precautions. To coming to process. So what are the process parameters? The mitigation measures are there. Every process is required to check up. Loops are there. Interlock loops are there. Open, closed loops, open loops. These all loops are connected with the interlock system. All interlock systems consist of overpressure, higher temperature, high feed rate, everything. So we have to measure all cutoff systems. Plant shut down automatically when it will shut down. Points, everything interlock system to be monitored before start of the plant. You have to check it up. Whenever plant trips are there, again restarting also interlock system must be checked up. Any deviation is there, and alarms are provided all critical parameters to prevent actions to avoid emergencies. All alarms are provided. Like that, all storage vessels with high and low alarms are provided to overflow the tank from tank. There's also to monitor. Nitrogen is stored adequate pressure at all times to use any case of any fire inside the vessels containing the flammable liquids. Nitrogen is must required. Nitrogen is required used for blanketing of the purpose, blanketing process to prevent the further avoid explosive mixtures. Further process means detection system also is there. Bagging systems to be provided to avoid the powder is to go should not be spread outside. Chemicals are kept minimum stock. Only required chemicals are should be kept at the sampling level. People are not keeping nowadays high stocks. When a minimum stock is sell because quantity is available, transport is adequately available. So the ERC system available. So that minimum stock only they're keeping. Inventory level also they're keeping. Emergency shutdown equipment sections can be done immediately in case of hazardous occurrence. Standard color coding is in pipelines used to follow this process requirement. So what are the mechanical measures in these mitigation measures? So non-spark injuries are usually involving the flammable liquids and gases. This is one of the criteria. All condition of vessels and piping is to be checked every periodically, every year. Is checking data collected, the condition monitoring, or nowadays NDT things have come. So all NDT measures are using during shutdown. All condition of vessels piping, they are measuring thickness, radiography, any joints are happening. We are checking that one. All critical equipment internal inspection taking place. Any weak zone is weak zones, any abnormality, any character action required. That all equipments are checked. These are mitigation measures in mechanical point of view. So electrical point of view, all electrical equipments are flame-proof type should be used. Especially in petrochemicals or chemical industry. Flame-proof of motors also used with the hazardous classifications. All equipments, tank, pipelines are rated properly. Lighting conductors are provided buildings and chimneys, high elevations. Enclosures of electrical electronic appliances with the flame-proof instantaneous safety are used. So, because it's very much important. Apart from this, safety measures also required so many things. So no vehicle is allowed inside the process area without spark arrestor. No hard jobs are permitted inside the running the plant. Water spray system is provided. Fire protection are everywhere, wherever required. So smoking is strictly prohibited. Wind sack is installed at the highest elevation to know the wind direction. Display safe boards are required. High pressure gas cylinders are provided with adequate strapping outside the compound wall. Manned OHSP is required first aid functional purpose. First aid bus are provided everywhere to meet the emergencies. These are the safety mitigation measures required. These are only indicative measures. They depend on the plant. So according to the plant condition, they have to modify the mitigation measures. These are the tentative measures, general measures are given. Of course, this also be included. Over and above anything extra is there, people can use according to the plant wish. So according based on this, safety devices education is must. What is a safety device in the plant? Safety valves, frame arches, rupture discs are required. Are there? These are very safety devices. So safety devices for high pipelines are using, or pressures are using. Flame arresters, all storage tanks, dead tanks, flame bullocks are using. Rupture discs, especially using buckle rod pressure relief devices are using. Distress system you are using. Distress system also using rupture disc. These are very critical part in the operation of the plant. So these are things which education also very important for safety devices. What is adequacy of the safety devices? The pressure relieving device have been selected by detailed engineering contract based on engineering package with the license from their only advice. Suppose boilers are there. Boiler safety bars should be approved by BHL and ABR certificate only have to procure it. Otherwise, you should not procure it. Safety bars, relief bars, you are procuring. Like the regular practice according to their working inspection calibration that is to be obtained. Any device is found defective, either a repaired or replacement internal parts, they should be immediately replaced with a new one. Otherwise, should not take any with the certified vendor. These are the education should be taken from the vendors also. So instead of safety devices, educate safety device educate. So this much of education should be confirmed by installing safety devices. What is safety policy? Safety policy is just like every industry having their own safety policy. So based on this general, I made it. Safety is health working environment. To use safety appliances, to, to observe safety rules and checks, to maintain good housekeeping, to avoid misuse of safety equipment, to avoid negligence, to believe employees' safety in factory safety. So these are safety policy general. Repeated by a company, they should be things a little bit modification they can do it. So safety system for men and machinery. So plant mill, so many systems are there. So generally categorized here, coupling guards, rubber mats, wind sack, emergency siren, noise wood, railing and elevated floors, illumination at working places, fire protection, safety relief systems, contamination bond walls enclosures, flame arresters, using 24 volt AC lights inside the vessel during hot permit inspection work, safety showers, personal protection equipments, working label electrical equipments, non-sparking tools. These all the items are required. These all to be checked up. These all should be used in the machinery when the working is there. The safety systems are to be followed. This is one of the criteria for any petrochemical industry. So what is the safety protection here? Control measures are there. One is physical protection. Second is procedural protection, education protection. What is the physical protection? Providing the wind sack, venting through the all stacks, fire proofing system, improved wastewater system, personal protection equipments, building safety device, safety systems, field monitoring, different toxics, strict rigorous approach. These are the physical protection. So procedure protection means you should have MSDS is required for all raw materials. So in place they should keep it. No smoking policy should be there. Mutual aid schemes are there. Work permit system should be there. Statutory requirement, investigation for all accidents, safety promotions, information on safe conditions, safe startup, shutdown procedures. These all procedure protection should be always available. Apart from this, emergency, fire emergency procedure, onset emergency plan, regular and preventive maintenance, conducting plant survey, safety survey, annual medical checkup for all employees, critical testing of firefighting appliance, hazard identification through safety committee, housekeeping committee, safety audit committee. These all protections are procedure protections to be kept in place. So what is educational protection? So mock drill should be done periodically as per the plan. Safety manuals are to be kept. Operation manuals are to be made ready. Safety motivation schemes are there. Periodical training programs should be there. Safety, fire safety, hazardous material. So raw material products of every plant, you should have their MSDME safety instructions. They should be displayed in position, in place. So details of raw material and other inputs, details of products, storage capacities, consumption pattern, inventory levels. So safety instructions should be displayed in storage tank area in English as a local language, MSDMS. So what will happen? Anything you want, people want, they can check it up, data. This is important. So safety instructions both in English as well as local language, Hindi, plus whatever the language you are using, local people, that is used. So organization, what will happen? Each employees should have a qualification should be there. Without qualification, should not have keep any people. So qualification must for all employees, each category from the top bottom to helper. Only helper category should be there. There should be non-metric, but without education, you should not employ because helpers are without education. If you employ, some actions are occurring. That's causing a lot of problem also. These also things are required. So some education is experienced people should be recruited in the plant. So if you coming on-site emergency plan, what is on-site emergency plan? So on-site control chart will be there. There on site emergency control will be there. On site emergency controller, main incident controller will be there. Main incident controller under administrative controller, administrative coordinator is there. The three people are there in the plan. So site emergency control is a plant head only. Plant means it will depend upon the organization's president will be there, factory manager will be there. So he is a site controller is there. So should not depend upon on site emergency control one man. So alternative man also you have to see. Next below him you have to keep him is a alternative site emergency control. Suppose he is not there, he has to take over. Like that, he is only overall looking of the plant factory head. Where is the plant concerned? So main incident controller will be there. So he will take care of the plant activities, operation and maintenance activities. He will take care of. Anything has happened, he is not available. Alternative main incident controller also should be there next to him. So everywhere you have to keep alternative in charges you have to keep. Like the administrative coordination man will be there. There are also general manager, commercial, somebody will be there. If suppose he is not available, personal manager or manager purchase who is available, they have to keep alternative administrative controller have to keep them. So all people have to in place they should keep. onset emergency plan, emergency is there. So they should have site emergency controller is there, main incident controller, alternate people also should be there. Anybody missing, they should be there. So this is the main concept of this. So in main incident control under the him, so each every department HOD they report it, so that any emergency is there, they take care of inside the plant. This is the basic structure of the emergency control chart. So the site emergency controller, main incident controller, administrative controller, their jobs and responsibilities are there. So these are the only regard to. So what is the declaration of emergency? What are the steps to be taken emergency? So steps means preliminary assessment you have to say, area in charge will take. Final assessment, site emergency control has to decide it. Emergency alert means waving alarm siren is to be given. Handling emergency specific control room is to go. Mitigations, all teams has to be worked out. Normal return, site emergency control has to give clearance. End of emergency means long siren will be there. So emergency alert is a wailing siren. End of emergency means long siren. Something happened. This emergency siren should be always to be blown. It has to be worked in good condition. So declaration of emergency, how it will be there? When anything commencement says short intermediate signals for 5 seconds or and off, you should make for 2 minutes. That is the commencement of emergency. So emergency means should give 1.5 signal for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 times you have to give. So people understood something going on inside the emergency. Termination means a continuous signal for 2 minutes has to give. So that means your work is over, termination is over. So you can restore the normalcy. This is the way you have to see the fire alarm system. Emergency announcement is there afterwards. Emergency announcement through PA system should be made in English, Hindi, local language. That should be declared. This way should be declared emergency will be take place. So mutual aid partners also should be there apart from this emergency. So mutual aid partners means if something happened offsite emergency, what will happen? You have to call, take the help of the other people. So fire brigadier will take it. Government hospitals have to go. Corporate hospitals have to go. Department of Factories, nearby industries to take help to them. You should have this. So onset emergency plan. This all these 6 telephone numbers, in charge numbers, they should be updated. Keep with the main controller. They should be have all phone numbers. Any emergency they have to contact.
So Nagesha Rao, we are not hearing you, sir.
Yeah, we are not able to hear you.
His mic is mute.
Okay, now okay.
Now it's okay.
Now hearing everybody.
Yes.
So
please go ahead, sir.
communication must be a loop system. Consequences adequately identified. Dedication from everyone. Participation, important parts from teamwork. With public authorities. Awareness and top leaders beware of ready. So the other precaution. Are everybody listening? No,
Your screen share is not coming, sir.
not coming.
Yeah.
Slides are not.
Where I have to go?
At the bottom.
System is there. So medical service system, medical records, employment records, everything should keep. OHS system is there. It should be keep effective medical system, health management system, develop, elevate, sustain. Everything should be kept in place so that easy system is available. So any emergency plan is there. For any plant layout is there. They should have marked what are the fire system there. The red light they should indication should be marked everywhere. So where things are available, fire system where available, extensions are available. People should know. Like that, single hydrant, double fire water in the all locations. So people what happen, they can go immediately, they can check it up. These are the most safety systems are the way to keep it. So assembly point, emergency exit where to go, assembly point, emergency is assembly point. These are all earmarked in every plant. So these all should be followed very strictly for emergency preparedness. So assembly points indicated there, where people have to announce these are the things are to be indicated. So these are the emergency plans. So what happens with the emergency plans, we will know. So we will see in shutdown what is to be jobs to be done during this thing. So action plan during long shutdown before startup of the plant. So whatever the following jobs activities to be carried out. Preservation of rotating and static equipment is a must for during the shutdown. So this preservation, what will happen? The preservation of rotating and static equipments as based on the plant experience or OEM instructions you have to make it. Suppose rotating equipments are there. Equipments are decoupled. Drive units are rotated manually. Drive units are to operate manually, subject to availability of power or manually should be operated. Equipment like turbine, reciprocating equipments are there. The boring system is there for turbine for oil lubrication purpose. The reciprocating equipments are there. Loop oil systems, they should be operated regularly. So what happens? The shutdown, the system will be always available adequately. So this is to be taken care of. So static equipments are there. Static equipments, what is equipment? All static equipments are charged with a blank nitrogen and they put required pressure. They have to always monitor the pressure. There should not any pressure leakage or there any loose passages that again they build up and keep it. So that what happened, equipment will be always intact. Otherwise it become a problem. What happened, LG polymers? So blanketing problem is there in the styrene. That is one of the basic problem. And also when mitigation measures, water spray system is not working in time. That is a basic problem, sir. Like the pipings, all piping should be drained properly. And whatever the systems are there, there is steam lines, everything flushed to keep properly. Cooling water system, what will happen? People used to keep open like this. Before startup, they will sleep and they will start the plant. What will happen? All wood structure will damage. So what is to be done? Wetting is to be done periodically as per schedule. Every 3 days once, water should be sprayed in the wood cooling tower system so that the system will be intact. This is one of the preventive measures to be taken. Mitigation measures plus stavages. These are to be checked and ensured working availability before startup. Otherwise, it become problem. Like that, fire fighting system, fire extinguishers to ensure the availability always in position in good condition. Alarm signals, alarms are to be made available all the time. Mock drill, its frequency is to be increased in any shutdown time. These are the basic things to be done in the shutdown. So this is basically you have to understand what is emergency preparedness during the plants. So you look into what is the current scenario post-COVID system. All plants are suffering like anything. Just will give some highlights on this. So what happened to COVID? So what has changed? People say something changed. What is changed? World has changed. Man has not changed. That is a basic problem. So what has changed? World has changed. So whole industry world is going to tough time now. While the full effects of remains unknown, it's difficult to predict extent and duration of the impacts. That is a very difficult scenario is going on now. Economics are shrinking. Almost all sectors are affected. Worried about the survival. Now liquidity is in need of the hour and would keep us floating. That is there. So if you see the scenario, industrial scenario, if you see the categories, all industries, these are the industries are the low side. These are the medium size. These are high affected industries. These are affected industries. So all industries are affected, totally affected. So what is you see the current some of the what we don't know, we'll analyze it just of understanding basis. What we know already we know here. What we don't know, we'll discuss. How long this downturn going to be lost, we don't know. Less travel, change in transport mode, that also we don't know. Is it going to be U-shaped or V-shaped or linear recovery, that also we don't know. Behavioral change is one of the toughest time, tough challenge, because we don't know how tough boss will be, we have to handle it. Tone needs to be set from the top management authorities. That is a very difficult situation now. Technology operations change. Significant progress has to be made already. So gaps to be filled to ensure end-to-end digital journey with IoT. Now the big problem is utility fear. Utility fear means high grade of fear, survival threat is there for all industries or employees or whoever it may be. Low grade fear is there. Everyday fear, similar to in brain, that is also taking place. This is one of the greatest. What is going to be, we don't know. Maintain focus on ongoing issues. That is to carry it. Economic struggle. What is the economic struggle? Power shift. Local to local. That is also big problem now. Don't jump on the bandwagon. These are the what we don't know. This has to be followed during the post-COVID. So what is the industries? If you see, some of the industries are potential losers are there, potential winners are there. Of course, the data I got from economic times, this I not prepared it. So what happened is economic times, what they show, some industries are loser sides are there. Some industries are winners are there. But in this, what happened, oil and gas industries is made in between. You should don't know what happened oil and gas industry. So this is all criteria we have to look into. After post-COVID area, how to go oil and gas, this is a very critical path. Once you should see how it will go say after post-COVID. So you have to give sustainable development required. What is the required need in our focus areas are you have to design, capex, strategy, perspective. These are the required focus areas. These all focus areas required, then only we are able to sustain development. So what is the nowadays, sustainability people are talking, reliable and sustainability people are talking. Resilience planning, rehearsal, implementation, monitoring, education, these are things are to be educated to get the sustainable development. Otherwise, you will not do all these things, we will not come to know what is going to happen.
రావట్లే
Any problem, anybody? Can I continue?
Yeah, we can go for question and session, sir. You can
No,
continue.
I 2 minutes lower. Resilience
Yeah.
planning, rehearsal, implementation, monitor, education. Okay. So resilience means what is happening, environment people are there, considering risk assessment is there, statutory guidelines to maintain IGNS, action plan required. Rehearsal means mock drill, identify constraints, high possible non-compliance, risk factors are there. Implement means should not affect productivity. That like that only changes are to be there, incremental changes are to make it, not huge changes you should not make it. Otherwise, no total production will go off. Monitor, you should be monitor everywhere. Monitor also you should what happen, reward is to be given for implementation purpose. People has to be encouraged here. Education should be must everywhere. So reimagining of the future workplace. What is the future workplace reimagine? Wind of change, constant evaluation is required. Traditional to collaboration, this is must required. Change of enabler, reconfiguration of talent of future, to analyze macroeconomic environment, approach towards fiscal assets, work execution and planning, this is must required. Urban spoke approach is there. Innovate on IQ approach is there. Behavioral change, most important attribute. Innovation has to be accelerated towards IoT. The world has changed and we need to adapt. So skilled manpower, safety, health, and well-being, these are the things are required. So what is challenges, initiatives are required? These are the challenges. What are the challenges will transform industry to better way of life to all. Maximize capacity, productivity, engagement through data is required. So productionization of industry is a year specialization. So all this you will get success. Success, all will get success. Success won't get just like that, isn't it? Unless you have to professional skills are to develop and soft skills are to develop. So professional skills, soft skills are to be developed each individual in the post-COVID period. So what is success then? Success means teamwork has to develop, creative, effectiveness, innovative type, communicative type, then teamwork will come. Then teamwork means success will come. What is the definition of success? You have to good ideas minus fit fast, that is success. Unless if you not have good ideas and fit fast, you can't get it. How you will get good ideas? Good ideas you will get through way to success. Problems are there, analyze is there, ideas, solutions, these are the way to get good ideas. So based on that, perspective analysis you have to do it between impact and likelihood. All these things only will get success. So what is the sustainability? You have to get sustainability based on the success. These are the successful factors. The sustainability all will get like this. So if you're not able to do success like this, what will happen over a period of time? Industries are successful means will run flourishly. See, industries are not going to flourish means industry is going to close forever in this epidemic period, COVID period. So even though successful industries are going up, what will happen? Looming will take place. So automation looming is always it takes place. So these people are ready to take this thing. So what is the remarks now? So more preparation for emergency, less you lose in actual emergency. These are the basic concept of emergency. Okay. Over and above, basic rule is there. Way forward. What is the way forward? Well, this is the way forward. I think self-explanation is not required explanation. It is what's good forever. Okay. Thank you. So any questions?
Thank you so much,
Sir.
Mr. Nageshwara Garu.
Thank you, sir.
I think we can go for questions.
Yeah, definitely, sir.
I'll open the unmute the mic. You can raise the question. Who wants to
Nageshwar,
start
sir.
first? Please introduce
Okay.
yourself and start the question session, sir.
Okay, Nageshwar, I'm YP Chawla.
Mr. Chawla from Sydney is joining late night. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, right. Of course, partially we know about the issue that happened at Visakhapatnam, but
Yeah.
then the issue you can little bit highlight.